I'm sorry, guys. This is something. All right, so welcome to the first Missouri Evergreen Cataloging meeting of 2026. I hope everybody had a good holiday and whatever. Um, we have, I don't think we have a ton on the agenda, but we just have a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, well, maybe. Why are we like this, Zoom? Not letting me control the agenda. Why, God, why? What the heck? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna unshare and reshare. We'll see what happens.
Don't you love it when improvements just make everything more complicated?
I I'm just gonna lose my mind here to say. I'm like, why are you touching my button? Don't touch my button. All right, can you all see the agenda again?
Yes.
And now I can move it. There, okay. Here we go. We're gonna try again. All right. Welcome to the first cataloging meeting of 2026. We're gonna go ahead and get going here. We have a lot to talk about. So in cataloging committee news, the deduplication project that we wanted to do with Equinox has been approved, and the cataloging committee has made a subcommittee that is going to specifically work with Equinox on this project. Um, our first meeting is not till tomorrow, so there's not really any more updates as of yet, but stay tuned. Next month, we may have things to talk about with that. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that is happening and there is a subcommittee. So moving on, consortium cataloger news. I have started reaching out to regional cataloging training locations, the host libraries, to start setting up dates for the trainings that I do in spring. So far, only one has been really scheduled, and that's West Plains has chosen March 6th for their date, and so I have made their registration page. And you see here, you can click through it. It's just like last year, it's through Odoo, so you'll just sign up through there to let me know that you're coming. Even if this is your home library, please do that so we can get a head count for lunch. Um, but I will let you guys know as I get more scheduled, hopefully this week. There should be 5 or 6 this year throughout the state, but only one is officially scheduled so far. So certification. Reworked recertification a bit. So there will no longer be a quiz required. There will still be coursework required. There will not be a quiz required. So I have gone through the Odoo training modules, and I have hopefully taken out all references to the quiz and updated that. I will be updating the Odoo stuff a little bit more now that the test server has been updated with our 3.14 and 1.5 update. I'm going to be putting new screenshots in there, but that only just happened. So I had to wait for that. So yay for no more quizzes. You will be seeing some more updates in Odoo. If you have any questions about certification or recertification, please reach out to me. But otherwise, it should really, I mean, it's just the same. All right. Cataloging Connect. So this happened a little bit ago. I think I did these things in December, but we hadn't had a meeting since then. So just a heads up that there are some new crib sheets that I added to the big crib sheet document. I have linked them here. I added Tet Besh examples. So those are books that some people call them upside down books. So they have the same spine and one goes this way and then the other one's like, upside down. So you flip it the other way and it's a different story. Um, Tet Besh is what you refer to those as. I've added examples of those of when they have the same author and when there are two different authors. And as requested, I added some Yodo cards and player crib sheets. So there is a crib sheet for a nonfiction Yodo card. There is a crib sheet for a fiction Yodo card. And then there is a crib sheet for a Yodo player kit, which includes the player and some cards. If you have any more requests for crib sheets, please send them along. I'm always happy to add them. That document just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I just love it so much. So,
Liz, there's a question in chat. Cindy wanted to know, did you suggest that staff come to every spring training in order to brush up on any new topics?
So as far as regional trainings go, they're a little bit of everything. There will be things that, like, if anything has changed over the past year, those will always be included in regional trainings. But generally, regional trainings are based off of what I get asked the most throughout the year. So they do differ from year to year. They're never exactly the same, although some things we do cover every year, like original cataloging, I always try to cover. So if you went last year, doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't come this year, because it will be a little different. But it's really up to the library and staffing whether you decide you should send people or not, if that makes sense.
And also you get to see your fellow catalogers.
That's true. In whole real life people, not just my floating head. So hopefully that answered your question. Thank you, Sarah, for keeping up with the chat. My buttons are weird. And
no problem. Heather said, and the wombat, which I think is
important. And the wombat, yes. The cataloging wombat, if you all have not been to trainings, you don't know what that is, and you need to come to trainings to find out what the cataloging wombat is. That's just, it's special. So, yeah. And I'd like to think we're a lot of fun, so. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Again, let me know if you guys have any ideas or requests for crib sheets. I'm happy to make some and add them to the document. Those were Tetbesh and Yodo cards, were just the ones that have been added most recently. And I honestly can't remember if I told you guys about them, so I added it to this agenda. It's been a long couple months, so who knows what's happening anymore. The next thing that we have on here is that we like to add sometimes is Catalogers Freeze Fire, where we talk about like a bug or something that somebody suggests or we come across that we think is a good idea. And this one was actually suggested by Sarah Llewellyn, our current cataloging chair. Sarah, do you want to talk about what this bug is, or do you want me to go ahead and talk about it?
So basically, it's if you guys are like me and you have things that rotate in and out of like a new shelving location for new books, I wanted to see if we could figure out a way for that to be like an automated process, so I don't have to manually change hundreds of books every month in and out of the shelving location. And somebody had already like done had suggested a change on the, what is it called? What is the platform called, Liz? Where we breathe the fire.
Launchpad.
Launchpad. Yeah, somebody had already put it on Launchpad, had already created this. So I was like, hey, let's all pile in, because it would be really great if we had this. And I think I'm probably not the only one that thinks that.
Yeah, so this bug is like kind of a bug and then also kind of a wish list item squished together. So if you guys would go in, if you would like to like read through that and see if that's something you'd like to see, please add heat to it. So, because I think that would really help automate things for a lot of people. So go breathe fire.
There's another question in the chat, says, where can we see where the new trainings are scheduled? Is that through the Odoo?
It will be through Odoo, but as I get more scheduled, I will send an email out to everybody, to the MEC cataloging listserv, and say, here's all the, dates and times and whatever. That's the West Plains right now is the only one that has officially been booked. So there will be more. There will be maybe 5 more, but they're just not official yet. But expect an email, but they're also on Odoo. Can you see my screen here? Okay. So when you're on Odoo under MEC events, they will start appearing under there also as I get them set up. But again, this is the only one that's been scheduled so far, so it's the only one listed. But I will also send out emails, so you'll see it. Or I mean, if all else fails and you're like, Liz, where is this? You can always text me or whatever. Feel free. Okay, so moving on. So server upgrade for the production server is going to happen February 25th. Now, a reminder that when we do a system upgrade, we always like to stay like one iteration or whatever behind the one that is the very current one. We like to let other people figure out all the bugs and the icky and the whoopsies, and then we come up a year behind them and get that, just because there's a lot happening. So this time when we update, we are currently on 3.13. We will be updating to 3.15, but that also includes 3.14 because we haven't had that yet. So the updates you'll see updates 3.14 updates and 3.15 updates. Now, the test server has already been updated. So if you want to go in and play around in there, which I would suggest you do, you will see the new updates of things that have already happened. So I've listed some in the meeting agenda that I thought were particularly interesting or pertinent to us, but this is not everything. I have linked out the update notes if you want to go in and read through the notes. But for example, so 3.14 updates, we're getting Angular record buckets. We're getting some copy notes and copy tags that we can now export. We're getting the option to acquire monograph parts, which the cataloging committee will be talking about that next week, because we want to see how that works in the server before we implement it, consortium wide. And then we get things like Equinox is always working to make the software just more user-friendly overall for AD compliance and just in general. So we are getting things. We are getting dark mode. I know some people have been really excited about, they want dark mode. So dark mode is happening in 3.14. And then there's also, I thought this was interesting, a setting to show or hide carousels. So not all your carousels that you have will be seen by the public. So you can have a bunch and rotate them in and out, and they just not just be there all the time. As for 3.15, the templates are getting reworked in that item, alerts, notes, and tags also in the templates. And then there is going to be a batch edit parts in the holding editor, which will be very exciting if you guys have to ever batch edit parts, like huzzah, less button clicks. So please go into the test server, please mess around with these things. If you notice something that doesn't seem to be working, let us know. And so hopefully, when we get this on February 25th, when it rolls that into the production server, we'll be familiar with it and it'll all be hunky-dory. Okay. Any questions about the update? Okay, move right along. All right. So cataloging discussions, the last thing we have for today. The first one is just a reminder, and the second one is really the meat and potatoes of where we're probably going to spend a large part of the meeting. The first thing on here, a reminder about on-order records, just a reminder that when there is an on-order record, we know it's on-ordered because the title is in all caps. It maybe has some on-order things attached to it. But the first library who physically receives that item is the one who is supposed to be editing that MARC record. So do not attach your items to a MARC record without editing that MARC record. That's just how it is. So there should be nothing that's available in Alive out there floating around with an on-order MARC record. The first library with the item should be editing that. All right. Any questions about that before we move into what I think everybody is waiting for us to talk about? Okay.
Wait a second, Liz.
Yeah.
Carol says, I have an issue with the all caps not changing after I have updated with the copy I have in hand. When I save it, it still shows in all caps. Yeah, that has to be manually changed.
Like okay. Carol, are you saying that you're changing it from all caps and then you're pushing save and then it's saying it's not changed at all?
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
not doing it. It's not holding the change.
Yes,
Next
ma'am.
time that happens, send me an email or text message with the TCN and I will look at it
Okay, thank you.
because that's not right. Something's not happening. When you push save, it should be saving what it is, not just the item. So we'll figure that out. All right. Anything else about on-order records, y'all? Okay, so we have new merge rules, updates, and expansion. I'm going to add jazz fingers or sparkles or something to this because I think this is a good thing. Don't be scared, guys. So this started as a request to the cataloging committee about, you know, how did we get the merge rules that we have? Where did they come from? When's the last time we looked at these, et cetera, et cetera. So the cataloging committee, so the larger committee, which, you know, we're all listed at the bottom. So here's everybody on the cataloging committee. We all met and talked about what the merge rules currently were, you know, where they came from and expanding them because the more libraries that we get in the consortium, just in general, the more records we have and how can we make merge rules that are really more patron friendly and cut down on the amount of MARC records in the OPAC. So taking all those things into consideration, this is what we have come up with. So we are moving away from the strict rule of 10 pages and 3 centimeters for merging. We're really going to be focusing on the content of the item, not how necessarily what it looks cosmetically. Okay. So the loose parameters are going to be 20 pages and 4 centimeters, but emphasis being on content. Don't get stuck on something that, oh, this is, you know, it has 21 pages different than this other thing. If it's the exact same content, if nothing has been added, those can go, we want those merged, okay? So 20 pages, 4 centimeters, but loose, okay? And yes, this does mean that on a MARC record, you could have something that is 20 centimeters all the way up to 28 centimeters, okay? So 4 on each side. However, this does not include mass market. Since mass market, it has been decided it's kind of its own thing. The committee has decided that while mass markets cannot go on the same record as, you know, the hardback and paperback like we're wanting to, all mass markets for a title, if they have the same contents, can go on the same record. So that's really going to be helpful for, let's say, all those crazy mass markets for Huckleberry Finn. There's like 20 records or something hanging out there. We can now put all of those on one record. So that means we would be adding all of those ISBNs to one master record, merging all of those records together. And so then we would have one mass market record. Now,
Liz, I want to be sure that, I'm sorry, because I found that a little confusing. So we will have a regular print record that's got,
yes,
you know, paperback, hardback, all of those things, but mass market will be separate, but then
yes,
you can have several different iterations of mass
of
markets
the mass market
on that mass market.
on that same record. So I put some notes here. We have those things that are called premium mass markets. Those can go on a mass market record. Basically, what they're calling premium is like 2 centimeters, but it's that same, you know what a mass market is, you recognize that shape. That's a mass market. Even if they're going to call it premium and add 2 centimeters and make it slightly taller, it still has that weird mass market binding look and binding everything else. It can go with those mass markets. The same way with larger print mass market editions. Larger is not large. Large print has a very specific meaning in MARC cataloging. It means 16 point or above. When they say larger with the ER, they're basically saying this isn't 12 font. We made it like 13 or 13.5, maybe 14. That's not enough to make us say this needs to be a large print record. I think that's going to be one of the most confusing things, although that is not necessarily a change. Larger is not large. They're lying to you. In addition to that, when we are merging, because there's going to be a bunch of merging going on now of these, specifically these mass market editions, when we are merging mass markets, we want to make sure we are going in and we are adding this 250 here, that it is bracketed because we made it up. Sometimes mass markets do have something similar to this, but we want this to be on all mass market records now. Is a 250 where the edition statement would go, mass market paperback edition. Because that is easier for the patron to see when they are looking in the catalog. It shows up right there. And so it's easier to identify. Any questions with that stuff so far? I know this is a big change. Okay, so moving on. So here is some items of note. Okay, so again, larger print editions should go on the regular print that matches. So if it's a larger mass market, it goes on mass market. If it's a larger, just regular paperback, it can go on with the paperback and hardback editions. Only official large prints where they meet that standard get a large print record in that D in the contents. Okay. Now, when we're going to be going in and making all these changes and merging all these new records, we want to make sure we are putting our Q fields, our subfields on the O2O. So that is your ISBN mark tag, and the Q is just kind of, it's a description of what that thing is. So if you're adding something in a mass market and you're putting all these mass markets together, you could say, I don't know, Jove Mass Market. That's a publisher. It's just be descriptive. Okay. Maybe it's like a hardcover paperback one and it's Oprah Book Club paperback. I'm making these up, but they can be descriptive. You can say those Q fields do not have a language that you have to go by. It is just a descriptor that you are finding to facilitate everyone else knowing what that thing is. Okay. All right. So things that constitute creating a new record. These make these things different. This goes to contents. This makes contents different and the records having to be different. A new forward or an afterword. Different. A new translation, a new translator. Different records. Different editors, different illustrators, again, different translators, different records. Different illustrators, illustrations, and the addition of illustrations or maps, different. The content has been changed. They have added something. And bonus content or added chapters. So if somebody comes along and they say, oh, you know, like here is, let me trying to think of something. Let's say The Hobbit. Here's The Hobbit, and like here's like a new fancy bonus content that's never been published before. Who knows? That would make it a whole new record. Okay? The content has been changed.
There's a question in the chat that says editions still go on separate records.
First edition, second edition, third edition, they have to go on second records or separate records. They aren't telling us how something has been changed, but something has been changed where the edition has been updated.
Now, first edition and second, that's different than first printing and second printing.
Yes.
Editions usually keep it, I think of it with nonfiction mostly.
Yes. Where something has been updated, new information, maybe there's a new citation. Printings just mean a new run of that same thing has been printed. So printings can go all together. First printing, second printing, third printing can be combined. Editions are different. Editions, something in the book has changed. And we are talking strictly about books in this whole conversation. Okay, things that do not constitute creating a new record. Excerpts from the next book. Don't care. That has nothing to do with this book in hand. Although people may want to sneak peek and read that, you could also probably look that up online and find that. Fancy edges or decorative end papers. Now we're talking fancy edges like they have that marbled on them or they have a gilded edge. That did not change the content. Neither did like a marbled, is that how you say that? A marbled end paper. Now, if that end paper becomes a map, that's a whole new ballgame. And I hate that because that's confusing. It's so confusing. But if that end paper is a map, it would have to be a new one. If it's just some pretty abstract, swirly whatever, it can go with the other one. It's not changing the content. Book club discussion questions. This was debated back and forth with the cataloging committee, and it was decided this does not constitute a new record. This can go with the other one. Mainly because it's not affecting the content of the thing, and these questions can generally be found online through Googling. Another thing that was debated with cataloging committee, author interviews. Now, author interviews, a lot of times they're not even about the book in hand. They're just like, you know, talking to them about just being an author in general, a series, whatever. So those author interviews do not constitute a new record. Movie tie-in covers. This isn't a change, but we wanted to make sure everybody realized changing the cover of the book, if the content is the same, I don't care. It can go on the same record if it's the same thing. So when, you know, Where the Crawdads Sing, they come out with the movie, they have the movie cover, whatever. It can go with the other ones.
Liz,
Is
there's
there-
sorry,
Mhm.
there's a question. Would we still put a 500 for something like discussion questions / author interviews if only one version of the book on the record has it, or if we're not sure if the other versions of the book on the record have them or not?
You would take that 500 out or add language that says some, because if not all of them have it, we can't be using that 500 note. Oh, and the last one, Oprah, Reese, whomever decides they're going to have a book list, maybe I'll create my own book list and have it on covers of things, whatever, that does not constitute us having a new record. It didn't change the contents of the item. It just really changed the cover. It maybe gave us discussion, maybe, but again, those can be found online. I know this is a big change. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about this moving forward. As you guys start looking in the catalog and start thinking about these new merge rules and see things that need to be merged, if you are not confident that does this fall under the new parameters, please email me. We will discuss, okay? We are just trying to make the OPAC more patron friendly in general and get some of these they're just extra MARC records out of the catalog. We want the patron to be able to search for something and not come up with 75 records for one title. Maybe 10. That's still annoying enough, you know, if there's 10 records for something like, say, Huckleberry Finn, but it's less annoying than 75.
Hey, Liz.
Yes.
I was just informed and I confirmed myself that the test server has not been upgraded yet. So if anybody,
Oh, it's not.
no. So we will get with Equinox about that to see when it's going to be updated.
Okay. Okay.
Does the training reflect these new parameters with the merge things?
So regional trainings this year, one of the big things we will be talking about and covering will be these new merge rules. Yes. And again, as you're out there looking at records and you have questions, please email me. It is not a problem to ever email me. Everybody apologized when they didn't. No, don't apologize. email me or text me. I'm happy to help. It is my job. We will talk about it. We will figure it out. This is a huge change, probably one of the bigger changes that have happened since I have worked at MEC. Okay.
Those of you that have been around and were here when we decided to kind of put hardcover and soft paperbacks together and that kind of thing, the cataloging committee, we just honestly, we had some input from other places, but we just arbitrarily picked some numbers, what we thought was good, you know, and that was over 5 years ago, probably more like, yeah, over 5. So us checking in with our, you know, workflow every 5 years and updating to what would be most helpful for our patrons, I think that's good practice. So I think if all of us just take a step back and think about, because some of this makes us as catalogers uncomfortable because, you know, it's not necessarily correct cataloging, but as we've all said probably 100 times now, consortial cataloging is a whole different beast than, you know, cataloging. So I am thankful that Liz, you know, that we have decided to do this. So.
And I will piggyback off of what Kate said. My pinkies up correct cataloging heart blanches at some of this. It does. It does. But we have to make concessions in consortium cataloging. It is not the same. We do not have a closed system. I've had to relinquish control and ideas of things, and that is hard for me. And if you know me, you know how hard that is. So if we have questions about this, if you want to scream into the void, email me that too. It's okay. I'll scream with you. I will scream, maybe the loudest. But this is what we have to do to be, you know, good librarians and help our patrons out. It's really important. And that also means that there could be other things that we have best practices of that could change potentially in life. Okay. The rules that we have are not always hard and fast. We have to look at them every so often and reassess, do they really still suit us in what we're doing? That's just what we do. We're good people. Does anyone want to say anything terrible about this or have any questions? I am open to screaming. It's fine. About these new merge rules, because I know it's a big change.
So 2 things from the chat. One, Cindy says, thank you to the cataloging committee for making these rule changes. I think our patrons will appreciate having fewer records to wade through. And then Colton asked, what is the rule for editions that don't mention the number, just the publisher or cover type?
So if they're saying like, I'm trying to think of an example. Second tour edition, and it's specifically mentioning that publisher, is that what you mean? Or if it's specifically mentioning the new cover, I would assume that's the only thing changed. I don't know. Now, when you get into like tour editions, that's a gray area. That's a gray area.
Yeah, I don't think there's an easy answer to this, honestly.
No.
For one, I can't think of a lot of examples, but
I feel like that happens a lot more with the mass market editions, like specifically when it's like first tour, blah, blah, blah edition or whatever, mass market. And to me, in that case, I don't think it's a real new edition, especially when it's mass market. But there's going to be gray area things like that in catalogers' judgment, where if you do your due diligence and really think like this is the same, you got to do what you got to do, guys.
Marianne pointed out that there's talk of mass markets not being published in the future, so this problem might solve itself.
Yes, I honestly, that made me feel a little bit better about this whole thing in general, is I saw this article from actually a reputable source over Christmas break. I was saying that like, we don't print things. This is from a big publisher. They're like, we don't print things in mass market anymore. We have phased that out. So it's happening. whether you're realizing it or not, because a lot of our mass markets I know end up donated to us. Mass markets are being faded out. Publishers are getting away from printing those at all. So maybe eventually, let's cross our fingers, this problem will solve itself and they'll just all fall out of the catalog. They won't exist anymore. But for now, you know,
It's like pennies.
it's like pennies. They said, we're getting rid of the penny. We have a penny shortage. And then they were like, no. So, any other questions, guys? This will be a big thing that we talked about at regional training. Probably spend a lot of time on this talking. I'm going to try to find all sorts of crazy examples, because you can always find crazy examples when you don't need them. But then when you need an example, you can't find one. I'm sure all of you who've done your coursework understand that. But if you have any other questions, specific examples, please reach out to me or the cataloging committee, and we will talk about them, and we will, catalogers judgment these things together. I really thought there was going to be more discussion about the new merge rules. I'm going to take it as you all are currently in shock, because it is only 11:39. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm still wrapping my head around this. I'm like the hype man for the committee. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Let's roll this out. So do we have any questions about anything we've talked about today in general? On order records, the updates that are coming, the crib sheets, the scheduling of regional trainings, et cetera, et cetera. Do we have any other questions?
Is the recertifications like ready to go for like the people who are like have to renew it this time
Yes.
around? Okay.
Yep. I've gone
Okay.
through, I've edited them. I did not take them down. As I edit them, I leave them up. So it's like you're in there and you're like, all of a sudden a picture changes. Ha 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 ha. It was Liz. It's magic. I'm sorry. But I don't ever want to take them down completely, because people are in the midst of them at all times. So yes, they're not down. They're alive. I have gone through and read and hopefully taken out all the references to there being quizzes and things like that. But you know how it is. If I miss something, let me know. All right. It's going to be last call for questions. Okay. If you have not already, please add your name and library to the chat. We will meet again February 9th. Same bat time, same bat channel. For the 100th time, you know where to find me. You know where to find the cataloging committee. Please reach out if you have any questions, problems, need to yell. That's fine. Please reach out. Okay.
Someone asked, will we get reminders when it's time to recertify?
Yes, I do send them out. And I don't generally like hold you to the very date that you recertified. I usually give you to like the end of the month or the next month, depending on when it falls. So, I mean, no worries.
I didn't know you did that, Liz. That's incredible.
Yeah, I tried. I tried.
I wouldn't have time to do that. So good for you.
All right. All right. We're gonna call that an end then. We still got out early. I'm shocked, but I feel like everybody is still processing new merge rules. So, all right, go in peace. Don't go with pieces, as my French professor in college used to say. And I will see you all next month, if not sooner.
Thanks, Liz.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.